when you go with the sheep or the cattle mentality, right?
Yep.
Well, everybody's going this direction. Well, if I'm over here, am I doing it wrong? No, you probably weren't doing it right.
Yeah.
Well, everybody's going and playing all this and spending this and doing this, and I've got this and that. It's that guy over there that we all think are a weirdo.
Yeah.
He's the one that's doing it right. I had a great group of guys that summer, and a handful of guys went to the big leagues, you know, later on in the career. Had a great manager, Barry Lyons. He'd backed up Gary Carter, 85, 86 with those Mets teams.
Yeah, Gary was a
had
good
some
friend
great
of mine.
stories.
Yeah, Gary was a good, God rest his soul. We met, not to cut you off, just so you, again, once I got done playing, it's funny how baseball always comes back into my life. I'm working on Wall Street. My business partner at the time, we're playing in a Atlantic City celebrity golf charity event, and we get Gary Carter as our.
Sweet.
It was like when I tell you, like his personality and my personality, and he was like, and by the way, unbelievably religious, like over the top. To be with those animals, like he tells stories to this day and be like,
It'd be like the den mother.
yeah. And they'd be like, all those guys would be out, and they'd be like, no, we're out with Gary. We're gonna go have dinner, and they're running around like nuts, partying, and Gary, was already home in bed, like, no, we're gonna go to Bible study with Gary. And like, yeah, okay, yeah. But he really was doing that, but he was, he told those stories, and I don't know how many he had the fake knees, but he could hit a golf ball, and what a great guy to be around. I miss him. And then that happens to brain cancer. And, it's funny, we got so close with him that he invited us to come up to the Hall of Fame.
Oh, right on.
Yeah, it was.
Have you ever been to an induction ceremony?
I've never been. 'Cause I didn't go to that at the time. Because at the time, just to fill you in that part of it,
Right.
I had gone broke.
Okay.
That's how fucked up, like
Right.
messed up I was in my life, where like I ran out of money. I owed people money. I was in a bad place, and I had to reset and restart. But the time being, I was still kind of connected with him, but I couldn't make it up there to go see him. No, I've never been.
So we did a trip when we were kids. I've got a group of buddies. We call each other the pals, from the old Young Guns movies.
Yeah.
Pals. William H. Bonney, Billy Kid, on his tombstone it said pals. It's better than having a big gang, just a few good pals. So these pals, they're grade school buddies. So when we were 10, my buddy Doug and myself and his dad drove to Cooperstown. Well, then the next year, a couple more of the buddies and his dad drove us to Cooperstown. And so it was a trip that we'd made with his dad as kids. Well, this past summer, Jimmy Leland goes into the Hall of Fame. We're all Pirates fans where we grew up, right? Our team was terrible until Jimmy got there. We got Bonds and Bonilla and Van Slyke and Smiley, loaded for bear, right?
Yeah.
We're winning. We love Jimmy Leland. So Jimmy's going into the Hall of Fame this summer. So my buddy Doug, he lives in Dallas now. He goes, guys want to run the road trip back? 40 years later, right?
That is awesome.
I'm like, yeah. So we took it to he flew in from Dallas to Columbus, Ohio. I flew in from here to Columbus. My other two buddies that made that trip when we were kids live in that area, jumped in a car and road tripped it just like we did with his dad 40 years ago.
No shit.
But telling the same stupid stories that we were telling when we were 11 and had the best 3 days.
And by the way, the drive probably went like that.
Just like that.
Just like
instantly.
That.
It was awesome. Yeah, and we got to see Jimmy go in. He gave a great speech. And if you're a baseball fan, and we're all fans, I love everything about the game, the history. And he gave such a great speech. Like, we're all looking at each other trying to man up, but we're all crying. It was
all tearing
awesome.
All tearing up.
It was awesome.
Yeah. I believe.
That's a magical place up there. It really is a special place.
It is, especially. I've been up there a bunch of times. And then plus, I took 4 teams up there to play in Cooperstown. I just reminded me, I played in upstate New York in the summer league in the NCBL.
Right.
And I played in their All-Star game at Doubleday Field.
On.
I forgot.
Right.
I just remember now. Yeah, thank you for
there. You go.
Yeah. I swear to you, it's sad in so many ways that I can't Yeah, wow, that was incredible. Yeah,
It's still tucked in there. You just got to
Yeah.
bring it to the surface.
gotta bring
Certain
it to
things
the
will jog it.
that just was cool because I remember playing on that field and I'm like the history here, like and the people that played on this field and that whole place is magical.
Yeah.
It's still like in a time warp.
It sure is.
Like I think like 1972 is like the number I get in my head when I was born. That's kind of like the feel you still get when you're there.
Yeah. And that place is stuck in time, and you know, it obviously for a week it jams up during induction week.
Exactly.
But then it and you obviously down the street, 5 miles down the street, you've also, you know, you've got Cooperstown Dream, you know, the Dream Park and doing all that. But
summertime.
honestly, there's nothing going on in that town, but it's a beautiful place.
It is.
It's a great place to hang in the summer, and there's just so much. If you're a baseball fan, I could spend a week there every summer and be fine.
I agree. Not only, and they have great golf courses. That beautiful hotel that's right in Cooperstown. That's like
Just drops down on the lake.
right on that lake. Yeah, gorgeous. Yeah, that's a fun place. But I want to finish talking about your career because it's
I'm tired of talking about.
No. We got to because it's what people don't understand, the grind that baseball is, and to get to. I mean, then you jump. Okay, so then you go to AA. Then you're in AAA. We'll just fast forward to AAA, right? Because you're literally, I guess, and maybe correct me if I'm wrong. In today's day, if you're in AA, you're really close, just as close to big leagues. And I'm sure back then it was. But like, if you're in AAA, you're a fucking hangnail away from getting called up to the big league.
We always say we're just a bus crash away, man. We're from being there. So.
Literally.
So I 2000, 2001, 2002 was in the International League. Was drafted by the Reds initially, so was in Louisville in AAA with them in 2000. Part of the year, started with them, went down to AA for 8 weeks, then back up, and then that off season was Rule 5'd by Montreal.
Most of you don't know that's the Expos.
Yeah. Went to camp with them. Ended up leaving to go to Ottawa. Great town, by the way. If you've never been to Ottawa, nothing moves at a fast pace there. Even fast food's slow. People are super kind. And then the next year I was free agent and I signed with the Indians, and was in Buffalo with the had made 2 starts or 3 starts in Akron in AA, and then went up to Buffalo. That season was cut short in July. I had elbow surgery and had some bone spurs and some bone chips cleaned up by a team doctor. We were hoping that would get me through, but went back down to Puerto Rico for winter ball, for my 4th straight winter ball, which that was awesome too. That's a whole nother story.
You were in Puerto Rico 4 straight winter ball? Yeah, that's awesome.
And elbow still wasn't right, and then needed the full cleanup. Tommy John opened it up, get yourself a new UCL, be good to go. So super close, you know. I always say like that there were 2 seasons in AAA where I felt like I'm doing enough to get there. There just wasn't a need at the big league level for what the type of right-handed reliever that I was. And then the year that I felt like I really wasn't doing enough to go there, but there was all kinds of need at the big league level. That timing just didn't match up, didn't overlap. And the longer you play, the more chance you have of that overlapping. But then with the elbow surgery, and it didn't end me. I kind of ended myself, but it's what moved me to Florida.
Is that how? Let me ask you this, because you're such a chill guy, and I don't know if you chill now because of who you are and we're older, because I'm not the same person I was when I had my first child, but were you just this chill guy when you pitched?
No, my hair was on fire.
You were a fucking maniac.
I mean,
okay.
You could walk into that stadium and look at me
and be like,
and the scoreboard could be blank, and you know whether I'm winning or losing.
Yeah.
I mean, I wore it, man.
Yeah. Okay. I was the same way.
And you try not to, but dude, if I didn't let it get out, I was going to explode. So I wore it on my sleeve.
So tell me when that time came when you were, because I know how I was when I fucking didn't get drafted, and I thought I had every right to be drafted. I'm sure I didn't, because I didn't get drafted, but in my head, I was like, how could I not fucking get drafted?
Right.
Playing in the Big East Conference, starting every game since I was a freshman, doubles, this, that, all these nonsense records. And how did I get missed? That's what I always say. How did I get missed?
Millions of guys that get missed, and there's millions of guys that get drafted. I saw it every year in pro ball. I'm like, how in the hell? Like, who did your father know, or who did your mother know,
Right.
or what did you have on that area scout that threw your name in?
Yeah.
You know, so. You know, I think they've got it a little bit more dialed in now that they've dropped the rounds, but like back then, I think sometimes it just
missed.
like your area guy may only have, you know, rounds. They're going to give him the 7th and the 9th round. Well, you might be a 15th rounder in everybody's eyes. It's like your area guy doesn't have you.
Right.
You know, he can't submit you.
He can't submit you. Yeah, there's all different, you know, and it's funny. I wish I had guys like you to kind of explain that to me when I was that age. Maybe I would have ate it better. But when I don't like to, we were talking about this off air, I don't like things unsettled. Like I like to put a bow on something, and my wife's even worse than me when it comes to that. So like that's where we kind of butt heads. Like I thought I always needed a solution. She's even 100 times worse. Like, well, no, we're going to finish it and be done with it. I couldn't get that finishing. And then I'm like, maybe it's just not supposed to happen. But what I did realize, and this is why I ask you this, because I took, and I wasn't super religious when I was a kid. Like, I mean, we went to church. My parents forced me to go to church until I was 17 or 18. Mom, I know you're going to say 18 or 19. I'm pretty sure I stopped going when I was 17. She's going to crack up because she watches every episode. But I'm pretty sure I stopped going at 17 and on a regular basis, and, you know, didn't drink in high school, started drinking in college, like, and stopped really believing in God. I don't know if it's stopped believing in God, but didn't go to church. And then I realized that, like, Josh, I always say his dad played in the big leagues too. He was on my show. He's here. He was a pitcher with the Blue Jays. I say it wrong, Renicky, yeah. And sorry, thank you for doing that. And he was a stud. And he said this to me. We were sitting just like this, and he goes, "There's so many guys that I met like UT, very, very religious. Right. Went to UCLA, just like you, fucking stud athlete, like played at UCLA football.
Oh, wow.
Wide receiver, played center field,
Right.
couldn't hit it like his pops." And he's like, "I think I can chuck it."
Right.
Same story. Gets on the mound, you guys you're super athletes, can figure that shit out. Like, I couldn't do that. So then I realized, like, I wasn't that good. Like, talking to guys like you, not even fucking close. But what he said to me, which finally hit home, and I tell him this all the time because we go to the same church now. I said, you know, not only was your spirit, he goes, I would go to, like, when I was at UCLA, when that wasn't the cool thing to do on Friday, I would go to Bible study. He's like, he goes, what I realized about baseball, he goes, I never worshiped the game. He's like, there's so many guys that get to the big leagues and worship it, and then they lose their identity.
Right.
And I'm like,
well, God bless him for that, but
shit.
that wasn't me.
Yeah, I worshiped the shit
I mean,
out of
I
the
woke up thinking about it, went to bed thinking about it, in the off season looking out the window, waiting for the snow to break to think about it.
Me too.
So
I worshiped the shit out of it, and
walked around in circles.
I realized that this is the other thing too, and my son Ty says this to me all the time. He's been more religious than I ever was, and he says, "Pops, you know in the Bible it says that money is good when you use it for good things." He's like, when you start worshiping, that's when it's evil. Yeah. And I took both of those things, and I did both of those, because you know what ended up happening is I walked on the Wall Street, and you let me just go, like my personality. Mm-hmm. Oh, I'm gonna make it. Right. I'm gonna make millions, and then the money just kept coming in. But it was that worshiping part of, like, more cars, bigger houses. Right. And now I look back.
I think it turns into, too, it's just you're trading a vice for a vice. This is turning into my big leagues now.
Yeah.
This is my big leagues.
Exactly.
Right? So,
yeah, exactly.
And
great
not
point.
not that it's bad. Like, you're driven.
Yeah.
It's only bad when the drive gets in the way of you know, family or or other things.
Or other things. Absolutely. Yeah.
We can get down the long list of that stuff too. So.
Oh yeah, for sure. But yeah, that's why I think I need to know how you dealt with it, because I did a very poor job of it. I'm not gonna lie. Where I am today, 100 times better.
Yeah.
I'm also around like-minded people like yourself that actually can talk about it. You know, a lot of people didn't understand. Like I always used to say this, I'm not gonna be the next fucking Ted Bundy that I'm gonna sit and be the used car salesman with all my trophies around the fucking like. I didn't want to be that guy. I wanted to get to something. The one thing because I have a lot of accomplishments that most people be like, holy shit, that's enough for a lifetime. But the one thing I didn't get to, I harped on for the most of my life, which I would love to hear how like you were way further than I was, and you were, I mean, literally a fucking toenail.
Yeah, and I'd like to tell you I was good at handling all that stuff, and that'd be a complete lie. Like I said, emotionally, like I am what you see right here. That's the way I was as a player too. And hey, obviously, good games you sleep a lot better for 5 days, before you got to pitch again. Bad games you're wishing that you were a reliever so you get back out there the next night and go right. And that constant up and down. I don't think I was ever great at that. I think towards the end I got obviously better, maybe good at it.
Yeah.
And that was probably about the time that I was married and I had a son. And it's like, there were other things keeping my brain occupied throughout the, the days and the weeks other than just baseball. But still it was baseball. And, and the closer I got to it, it's like, holy shit, man, you're getting closer. And like at each level, you're getting closer. Like, is this shit going to happen? Like, you're getting closer. But with that came the amounting stress that it's self-inflicted. I'm putting it on myself.
Absolutely.
Nobody else is putting it on me.
No.
Because the organization don't care. If you can't do it, Teddy, we're having a draft next year, and there are going to be 45 new guys coming in. So it's okay. No love lost. You can go home. We got some new guys coming in.
It's a business.
So don't think I ever got really good at it. Got manageable with it towards the end. And I attribute that to probably being a husband and a father, even though they weren't with me all the time, but just knowing that, like, you probably had a little bit of a bigger purpose. But same as you, when I knew I was going to put the end to the career after had the Tommy John, and I moved down here to rehab it in the warm weather, so I didn't have to look at the gray skies in Ohio.
Which is a big thing, by the way. I don't think people understand that.
You talk about depression.
Holy shit.
So
it was cold here for a week, and I started getting depressed.
Yeah, right.
You right?
A couple more D3 pills, and you're good to go.
Exactly.
But so moved down here and started teaching kids for a while, and our goal was a year. We were going to pay our way down here, and I was going to rehab in the warm weather, and I was going to do some lessons to kind of pay our way through. And that year turned into 22 years. I was home with my family every night. I was doing something. I was still around the game. I was doing something that I wanted. I was still around the kids. And it's like, you know what? I think I can parlay this into something that is both fulfilling and can put food on the table. And 22 years later, here we sit. And each year the gym kept growing, and this is gym 4. And we've just passed the gym on to a former student, Coach Seth.
Who was a great guy, by the way. Great guy. That's unbelievable. Congratulations to that. I didn't know this is. See, I walked into number 4. I've only been here, since 2020. Well, I was in Puerto Rico in 2020, went back and forth, and then in 21.
Miss Dana kept telling me no more projects.
No more projects.
So after this one, I promised no more projects.
Oh, so where was your first original play?
So first one was off of in Sarasota, off of Coburn, behind the public library in Celery Fields. I think Elite Weiler Pools went into it after us, but now I think it's head offices for maybe Boys and Girls Club. And then my partner and I, Coach Scott, we bought. He was my first catcher in pro ball. That's why I moved down here. He had a little gym. And then we went down Industrial Trade Center in Sarasota, bought a little industrial condo unit, strung up an 80-foot cage, windscreened it in the middle, hit back to back, and had my pitch and shoot on the side. And for 9 or 10 years there, we just cranked him out. He had a baby, decided he was moving back with his family to Charlotte. I went and opened up a big mass facility with a guy that owned the building. Didn't work out good because he's not a non-baseball guy. And in the middle of the night, I'm like, I got to figure something out. We'd moved up here to this property, my wife said, you're miserable where you're at. So heads up to Dana, she's right again. You're miserable where you're at? Yep, you're right. I'm not feeling so good about myself. I can't stand my partner. We're money-wise, we're butting heads on everything. Yeah. And she goes, why don't you just build that pole barn you always talked about in Ohio that you wanted as a kid where you go hit in the winter? And she said pole barn. I was looking at 5 acres of property. I was like, I wonder how big they'll let me build this thing. So 9,600 feet's the answer.
Yeah.
So,
that's what it is.
So, and then leave it up to Dana. So we built this, and we ramped it up. That was 12 years ago, and ramped this one up.
She's a blessing.
Yeah. Well, she's smarter than I give her credit for sure.
Yeah. My wife's way smarter than
me. And literally that 12 year mark back, I think that's when I came comfortable with myself. Yeah. I kind of felt like, well, you're talking about like, well, maybe that is your big leagues. I'm like, well, maybe this is my big leagues. Like, I'm training these kids. I got my gym. I got a big gym. Not that the big gym makes you any more special than the next guy, but it made me feel good, right? Because I'd known how they'd grown.
Right.
And the kids you're training are doing well. You've had some drafted guys. You're sending guys to college. They come back and visit you, when they're home. So you weren't a complete asshole. Right.
Right,
so.
How fulfilling is that, right? Like like I have kids that I coach, and I say this. So I coached a team, travel ball team, and this is what I almost ran Ty out of baseball. He was playing with the 13s, and we put this team together. And he was only 12, so I kind of took the little league experience. I did a lot of stupid shit, but like I was coaching this team, and we had, I think, we went 44-7 that summer. I took them down here. Pete Tooch. You guys played against each other. My close friends. He partnered up with George at FTB, Florida Travel Baseball. So perfect game. They're on a wood bat tournament. So I was like, you know what? I'll take my 13-year-olds down to this tournament down here. And we went 44-7, some ridiculous number, and did kind of like what that coach did with you guys when you were young. I think I had 8 or 9 Division I players on that team. Yeah. And it's like, man, they come back, they call me still. They still call me coach, and I was just their travel ball coach,
You're always coach. I always say you're always at that age or that person at which you've met that person or they've met you. So Seth, who's just bought the gym and has 3 kids and married, he's still 9 years old, because I remember tying a shoe in the middle of lesson, and I forget he's a 30-year-old father of 3 kids.
3 kids.
So.
By the way, who played at Florida State, correct?
Florida Atlantic.
Florida Atlantic.
Yeah, and then later got drafted by the Pirates, and then traded to the Phillies.
And came through your program here.
Yeah, came through. He was 9. Really good friends with his dad, and Dad passed away when he was a sophomore in college, and came even closer. And he's just a great kid. He's family, as all our kids are. I've said this a million times. You talk about the playing part of it. You go back to that. Had I been that guy that got that 7 or 8 years in the big leagues, I would have never done this. No. I would have never been forced this direction or to find that next path. And I tell everybody, I said, I was a good player. I said, but I'm even better at what I'm doing now. Yeah. I know this, and I didn't know this until about 10 years ago, that I'm better at this than I was as a player.
I think I am too.
And I wasn't supposed to get to 7 or 8 years in the big leagues. I was supposed to be here.
Yeah. And I say that too. That's why I didn't mean to cut you off, but I actually think about, there's a reason why I was supposed to be on Wall Street. I was supposed to be around money, but I wasn't supposed to get to the big leagues, which I always wanted to, but I was supposed to be involved in baseball and coaching, and then also being able to give back to these kids. And I said this off air, that like my thing is that the experiences that I went through, and by the way, self-inflicted, I put myself through these experiences. No one else except me decided that drugs was better, alcohol was better, taking God out of my life was better. I did that all on my own. And truthfully, I shouldn't be here. But now that I am here and the changed man that I am, being able to talk about it with young kids. I just got off the phone with a kid that's at Virginia Tech who is one of Ty's friends. He has the ability to probably start as a sophomore this year, and I think he's got a good shot. I mean, their season's right around the corner.
They're supposed to have a monster year this year.
Yeah.
Tech in the ACC.
Yeah.
baseball-wise.
Yeah, so I hope he does, and I hope he gets that opportunity to start. They're going to be young. They lost a lot of the 50-year COVID guys, and the kid can swing it.
Yeah.
But I've been helping him through some of the other stuff that his dad can't do, and and we came into each other's life just by sheer luck.
Yeah.
And I think that's what I'm supposed to be doing, like you do here with these young kids. Like, I watch you. You treat every kid like he's your own kid. It's special. It's special.
Yeah, Dana knows the lady, and I'll spare her name, but there was a point where I was training this kid for a while, and he stopped playing baseball, and we're like 3 months into him not playing baseball anymore, but he's still coming to lessons. And I pulled Mom to the side, and I said, "Hey, look," I said, "Hey, like, you're paying an awful lot of money for, like," she's like, "He likes baseball. He's never going to go back to it." Single mom. She goes, "You're his one male influence that he really looks forward to being around each week. So I'm going to pay for that." I'm like, that was the gravity of, like, yeah, we're doing a whole lot more here than teaching a swing, or you're doing the mentoring part that you don't even know you're doing until something like that hits you in the face 18 years ago, and you're like, oh, I'm doing a lot more than just changing a swing or changing a fielding position.
You're changing lives.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's oof, that one hits home. That's a special thing right there. That's amazing. Let me ask you this. I know we're going down this rabbit hole because I need to hear your version of it, because now I see the type of person you are today. Because one of the things I always said to Lori was, here's this beautiful academy. This is like old school. Like, it's, we're in a barn. We're in a hitting barn. Like, this place is, it does what it needs to do, and there's a lot of shoots, but there's no teams that come out of here.
Not a one.
Not one.
Never will be.
Never will be.
Nope. I could make 3 times the amount of money too. I'm the dumbest businessman in the world.
No, you're not. and let's talk about that, because we and listen, I lived it on both ends with my oldest, who's as old as your son. He's 25. When travel baseball wasn't what travel baseball is today, like, where we can't, like, I had my youngest 11-year-old playing when he was 9 down here, or 8. Right. I mean, they might have been 7, and we put him on it. He wanted to try out for the travel team. He wanted to get away from rec ball. I said, I will have no problem doing that. And we go, and our team can't win the fucking Sarasota Open, but they want to travel to Georgia at 7 and spend 33. And again, money's money. It comes and goes. But you want to go to Georgia, you can't fucking win here in Sarasota. So, like, I get this now. I'm at the point now in my life where I'm like, and I was one of those guys, hey, we should travel here and do all this, which I did do with that team that produced 8 Division I players, and it was fun. Like, I had fun doing it, but I wasn't the guy running the show. I actually coached for free, so I never talk about dumb businessman.
So, like, I don't condemn anybody that does it, right? I mean, we're a capitalistic society. You capitalize on what you can capitalize on, right? I don't look down. I've got some buddies that, I've got a great friend that runs the largest travel ball organization in the United States. I mean, guy's got his own plane, all right? That's the kind of deep pockets we're talking about with this. I just don't believe in it at a certain level. That 15 and under, like, I don't understand why you've got to go pay all this extra money to go figure out the game, because as I'm watching you do these things, and at the 9-10-year-old level, and they're forcing you guys to do things that we're never, ever, ever going to do at the college, professional, or big league level. I don't know why we're forcing a 9 or 10-year-old to play 2 games on a Saturday, possible 3 or 4 games on a Sunday, depending upon how long you win. I've only got 2 catchers, so my catchers are going to catch at least 3 of the 6 games in a 2-day period. That's never happening at the big league level. Ever. And if I pitch on Saturday, I sure as hell am not pitching on Sunday. And if I'm going to try to win this ball game quick where I ain't got to use my pitching, I'm going to run up the score here.
Right.
I'm going to be stealing with an 8-run lead, which is never going to happen at the higher level. I'm actually teaching these guys in the converse how not to play baseball, and I'm teaching them how to destroy their bodies in the process, all because parents are scared that it's the worst FOMO thing in the world. They're scared they're going to miss out on something. Yep. They're just so terrified that if I don't do it, I've hamstringed my son. Go back to the very first conversation you and I just had. Yep. My dad held me out of baseball. 6, 7, 8. Didn't want me to, and I'm growing up north. Right. I'm only playing 4 or 5 months out of the year anyways.
And then all the haters, because that's what I call them, all the haters would be like, yeah, but that was in 1993. Right. Okay. Right. Doesn't matter.
So, and once again, and I'll just go to the money side of it. We were texting about this the other day. Worldly youth sports, as the stat was in 2022, it was a $37.8 billion industry, youth sports. It's projected by 30 to be a $70 billion industry. Like, we figured out how to fleece the parent out of their money. Yeah. And when I went through the downturn in 07, 08, and 09, where the construction guy didn't work anymore and the contract, guess what was the last thing to go in everybody's house? The kid.
Right.
We're going to spend money on, I'm not going out to dinner this month. I'm going to keep the piano lessons going. I'm going to keep the baseball lessons going till it comes down between the baseball lesson or the power bill.
Right, right.
Now, if I can figure out how to fleece you out of more of that by telling you you need something that you don't need, it's licensed to print money.
Truth.
But my morals and my ethics, as much as I like money, and I do, I like it. I just want to make it the right way.
That's why we like each other.
I just want to make it the right way.
Yeah, truth.
I don't want to step on a dollar to pick up a dime. I don't want to be that guy, because I sit in here and I sit on one side. I sit on the developmental side. And if it doesn't make sense to the development of my 9, 10, 15, or 18-year-old, I'm not with it. Yeah. And a lot of this doesn't make sense to their overall development, whether it be physically baseball or emotionally or socially. It just doesn't make any sense to me, and I'm not gonna be the guy that whores myself out for that $500,000. And it's a lot of money,
if not more.
And I could print it.
Yeah, you could.
I got a good enough name around here over 20 years. Grab a couple coaches and go, all right, guys, $1,800 for the fall, and I got 15 teams in here.
Easy.
And guess what we're gonna do in the spring? Another 15 teams. Yep. Guess what we're doing in the summer? 15, 16, 17, 18 summer showcase. A, B, C, and D. Boom, here you go. Paying my coaches. I'm just sitting here collecting money and doing taxes. Just sticking my name on it. But I won't stick my name on it because I can't control any of that stuff that goes on at practice or anything that goes on the field, because I'm not there, so I won't stick my name on it. My name means more than $500,000.
I love that. That's the fucking best way you can sum that whole system up. And including myself, this is why I love, like, I think why most people love me, like, and I should say love, but like listening to what I talk about, because I take accountability. I take responsibility. Like, I fuck up all the time, but I fucked up with that. Like, my kid's got to be on this team. And I look back now and I do the opposite with my 11-year-old that I did with my 19-year-old, and because, like, literally almost ran him out. And by the way, the 19-year-old's really good. And I almost fucked his career up. So, like, I kind of look at my 11-year-old and I'm like, all right, we're going to take this a little different. We're going to take a different approach. Almost to like how when we grew up.
But we get jaded down here.
Oh, yeah.
We live in Southwest Florida. What's the best thing about it? You can get all the baseball you want with that weather.
Every single day.
What's the worst thing about it? You can get all the baseball you want, right? So we're jaded by all, and so when you go with the sheep or the cattle mentality, right? Yep. Well, everybody's going this direction. Well, if I'm over here, am I doing it wrong? No, you probably want to doing it right. Yeah. Well, everybody's going and playing all this and spending this and doing this, and I've got this and that. It's that guy over there that we all think is a weirdo. Yeah. He's the one that's doing it right. Because where'd you grow up? Connecticut? Yeah. I grew up in Ohio. Yeah. Were you playing 12 months out of the year? No.
My wife and I just spoke about that
now,
this
morning. Let me
ask
you this. How many of you guys know from Connecticut that played pro ball? I can give you like 30 that I know from Ohio. So guys get drafted out and play it.
Absolutely.
Not just right here. So you can play for 5 months, maybe train inside on some stuff, lift weights, play hoops, and get drafted and go to where you're trying to get to. Yeah. And you don't have to do it for 12 months. So we forget about it. We forget the guy from Maine gets drafted still in Canada.
Right, and then what happens here? I say this too all the time. This is my wife. Like, she says to me, "You say since the first day because she knew nothing about like this baseball and I've kind of indoctrinated her into this world." And I'm like, "Babe, this little league diamond doesn't mean shit. So these parents that are yelling and screaming and fucking like this kid hit 3 home runs. By the way, when he gets to the big league, to the bigger diamond, those are gonna be fly balls. It's a fly out. Like I don't care how big he is. Like it doesn't matter. Like this game is so humbling. The game changes when you get to the big diamond. Some kids grow late. Like Ty literally is a late bloomer.
Right.
He's one of those kids that played a lot less baseball when he was younger. I saw it when he was 8 years old because I was a freak about the whole thing, and I was like, this kid has swing. Like he looks like he swings the bat like Mantle, for God's sakes, and I almost screwed him up with that too. Like I was like, I got to tweak it. I got to what an idiot. Just let him play.
Well, okay, so get outside the bubble of it again. Like, so I took you up north, and you're like, yep, makes total sense. Well, let me take you out of the country. Do you think that the Dominicans at 9 are on some travel ball team, going and flying or Venezuela?
No.
Or no? What are they doing?
Practice.
Taking ground balls, right? It's train. And
my
we're
buddies
lucky
live in Puerto Rico. They play on the team. They practice every single day. They train,
So,
and they play on the weekends. They don't leave. None of them can leave where they're from unless somebody's
Latin
going to
America
pay.
and the Far East have it figured out.
Yeah.
They train, play. Train, play.
Yeah.
We in the States, we play. Oh, well, we got an off day in first 10. Maybe we can take some ground balls. Well, it's not going to be the American pastime anymore because we're going to get left behind because the ones that are training for this sport aren't from this country.
True.
And I always screw up his last name. UConn's women's basketball coach.
Oh, Gino Oriema. He's unbelievable, by the way.
Great on a reel 2 years ago. He was talking about recruiting players, right? Says he loves Eastern Europeans. Loves them. Doesn't matter if they're a point guard, doesn't matter if they're centers, doesn't matter if they're forwards. They can all dribble, they can all pass, they can all rebound, and they can all shoot. Because the Eastern Europeans in basketball train, play on Saturday.
Yeah.
Train. So the big ones know how to rebound, handle the ball. So what are those things? They're the fundamentals of your sport.
Right.
Well, if you can't play the fundamentals of your sport, like, can you backhand a ball in the hole?
Yeah.
Well, if you can't, well, take a lot of ground balls till you can, because it's going to come up in the game. But coach, I don't have any time. I'm already on the field playing games.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you're going to get left behind.
Yeah, it's so funny. Ty being where he is at IMG, he had a situation where just a small little thing I saw. You know, he never played third base until this year. He's that, but he has the ability. And I said, you can't carry your glove like a shortstop off to the side because the ball hits. I played there for a long time. It gets hit at you like a rocket. Not that I think any shortstop. I'm from the old school. It should be out in front. I don't. They do things a little bit different now, but it's a little bit more flashier than when we played. But that's fine. I said, you need to get the glove out in front. Like Lee literally talked about that last night, and I'm like, you know what the great thing is? You get to go to school tomorrow and practice that at that school.
Right.
And you could take a gazillion ground balls
Right.
and do it over and over again on a beautiful turf field.
Right.
So go do it.
Right.
And he goes, I'm gonna, Dad.
Right.
But like, we don't think about it. We think exactly the opposite. Oh, we're supposed to play, win championships, and put the trophy up, and my team did this, and I got the medallion because I hit 5 home runs, but then you go out and then you strike out 4 times in a row the next game, and then you're like, what am I supposed to do? You should be train.
And if you are the American kid that is doing that is trained, you really separate yourself from the American kid. You don't separate it from the world population, but you really separate from the, because we're just not doing it anymore. We're just playing. We're playing.
And the best part about it is, how about that you play as you get older, as we know now with these teams. They fly kids in from fucking Texas. So, like, we used to play on a team where you actually built camaraderie and you learned, like, you knew what the kid did when he brushed his teeth, like, because you guys played together so long. Now guys fly in, they give them a jersey. They're like, hey, you're going to play. How could you?
All to win their $20 tin ring, man.
Yeah, $20.
It's like, yeah, we just won the World Series. I said, I thought you guys won the World Series last week. Didn't you play in a World Series? How many World Series are there?
Right.
Like 17?
Yeah.
Like, this should be just one maybe at the end of the year. Did you guys? Oh, you had to beat 5 teams to win the World Series
In one day.
Yeah. Okay. So I don't. Okay. Whatever. and call it what you want, your $3,000 entry fee, and however much your parents had to pay for the hotel and food, and
It's a number.
probably could have just spent the time in the cage or at the field taking your backhands.
It's as simple as that.
But we fear missing out. The Americans cannot miss out. They are so scared that they will just spend the money and they have no idea what they're spending it on.
They don't.
And I say it all the time. 95% of the people that walk through my gym, they don't even know that I played. It'll be a couple years and they'll look back and they'll say, "Whose Reds jersey is that?" And I'm like, "Well, that's mine." Like, "Oh, did you play?" "Yeah, I played in an organization for a little while." "Huh, that's cool." They just found their way into the gym and they're gonna start doing lessons, right? You could literally tell them whatever, and you're trying to give them advice, and doesn't mean they always take it.
True.
There's only like 5% of the people that come in that, like you, and it's not their fault. You don't know what you don't know. But of those 95%, if you are around the guys that have kind of been there, walked it, have kind of grown through different things in training, and you give the advice and you don't take it, you take your neighbor's advice that, is a car mechanic, but his son's a good ball player, like, you're probably taking it from the wrong ethos source.
I agree.
But they will. So,
But most people follow.
right.